Well, good morning, little chilblains. Now, we're continuing with our explanation writing, but this time we're looking at something completely different, which is how does a compass work? It isn't completely different because as we go through, you'll see that there is a kind of a link with volcanoes that might surprise you. So, we're doing non-fiction explanation writing. So we're going to explain how things work, and that is how a compass works. So we're going to introduce the subject in the opening paragraph in the introduction, then take logical steps through to explain in simple, clear language. You might want to use headings and subheadings. Quite a few of you did. And again, connectives to show sequence first, next, then, again. Some people did that as well with their volcanoes. And then we want to use things because, therefore. So I can explain now. What we're going to look at is processes that happen in nature, believe it or not, but also how things work. It's not a computer or electronic equipment, but it's something else. It's quite a strange thing, a compass. So before writing, you need to understand the learning, attention, and success criteria. You need to understand the purpose of your writing, look at models of writing, author's craft, and so on. These are things that we will do as we go. So the learning intention is to write a clear and detailed explanation of how a compass works. And it would be great. We did have quite a lot of drawings last week, but very few, maybe even only one labeled drawing. So it would be good if there were some labels, although as you learn more about it, you realize why that is actually much trickier for a compass than it is for a volcano. So you need a title, you need the purpose of your explanation in the introduction, you need an explanation of the process. Everything needs to be organized in a logical sequence. Subject-specific vocabulary. That was an excellent thing from last week, using all the correct vocabulary about a volcano. Completely different kinds of vocabulary this week. Generalized information and link, cause and effect. So reasons for explanations. How does a computer work? How does a spider spin a web? Why do living things need food? Why do some things float and others sink? So these are all questions. And ours is going to be, how does a compass work? So in a moment we'll look at a model text. It says read it with a partner. So someone at home, did you notice anything about the way it's written? What did you think the features of an explanation text are? Okay, so this is the same one we looked at last week, the hot air balloon. So how to fly a hot air balloon. A hot air balloon consists of a basket, 4 big gas tanks, a burner, and the balloon or envelope, which are all needed to make it fly. Now notice that introduction there tells you what a hot air balloon is made of. The next word we have is the word first. So first the pilot puts 4 nylon poles into sockets on top of the basket. Then the burner is put on top of the poles. Next, the cables are connected to the burner frame. The cables go under the basket in order to hold everything together. So we've got a first, then, next. Then we've got new paragraph. After this, the hoses from the full gas tanks are connected to the burner so that she can test it. Next, so there's another next. 2 people hold the mouth of the balloon open while it is filled with cold air from the fan until it is quite fat and tight. So if you think about a balloon, it starts off and it's just all floppy, and then as it fills up, and this is any balloon, as it fills up with air, it becomes tight and not quite hard, because It's not like the tyre of a car. If you go to the tyre of a car, which is also filled with air, and you tap it with your foot, it feels completely solid. But if you touch a balloon and squeeze it, it's not solid. You can feel that. And that would be the same as a hot air balloon. It wouldn't be as solid as the wheel of a car, even although they're both filled with air. Now for the difficult bit. The pilot lies on the ground, half in the basket. How strange. The gas burner is turned on and the flame is pointed into the mouth of the balloon. This is so that the balloon slowly stands up. When the pilot is ready to go, the air in the balloon is heated up a bit more. This results in the air in the balloon, I would have said, being hot enough to get the balloon to rise off the ground. I would have a final paragraph there saying the pilot now can have a great day out in his hot air balloon. I would have something to finalise it like that. So the title tells you what is being explained, a general opening statement. So you want to have some general facts about a compass. Now, at the moment, you must be thinking, I don't know anything about how a compass works. So, oh, sorry about that. So, I will send out a video on Seesaw with this that explains it, because it's actually quite complicated and it's very strange and interesting. It's not at all what I thought it would be. It doesn't actually, I'll tell you, the videos don't actually tell you all that much about the compass itself. Okay, they tell you about the way the world is made, believe it or not. So you'll need to watch the video. You might need to watch it 2 or 3 times to really fully get it. And you can come back to me if you've got any questions about the video. So you want an opening statement, a series of logical steps, written in simple present tense. And you can use time connectives. I'm not certain that these time connectives are actually going to be particularly helpful in the explanation of how a compass works, because it's not like a volcano where something causes something else to happen and then something else happens. Actually, it all happens at the same time. So you'll understand that when you watch the video. Maybe you've already watched the video before you've watched this. I don't know. So casual. No, that does say casual, but I think it's meant to say causal. C-A-U-S-A-L is causal connectives, not casual connectives. So causal connectives, that means that something causes something else. So, because, when. And it would be great to have some labeled diagrams. Okay, so title, introduction, purpose of writing, paragraphs in time order. As I say, that's not as relevant with this as it was with a volcano. Then diagrams, charts, and a conclusion. So this is just going through again everything you need. You can take a look at it, read through, check it off as you go. Here's a compass. We're now going to plan our own explanation, writing about how a compass works. So I've sent you a sheet. You can use that to fill in as you watch the video. That is probably a good idea. And I've put a few ideas of titles, but you can come up with your own. How do compasses work? Does a compass point to the North Pole? How does a compass know where north is? Introduction. And here's when I'm starting to give you some hints about how a compass works. A compass uses magnetic forces to point north. The Earth is a giant magnet, and compasses use magnetic forces. All magnets have poles, like the North and South Pole. Okay? So that's information. You might want to use that as your introduction, but I would wait until you've watched the video before you make a decision about your introduction. So here are some diagrams. It says there, use your topic notes on compasses to create your paragraphs, but I've also got some pictures here that you might want to copy, and you might be thinking, I don't get how this helps, but once you've watched the video you'll have an idea and you can come back to this. You might find that there's a diagram also in the video that you want to pause and copy it. So just a reminder, this is from last week, how volcanoes work. So all the red is the introductory paragraph. So the volcano is a powerful force in nature. Then all the yellow is technical vocabulary. Now, this is not the vocabulary that you're going to be using, obviously, because this is from last week. So you're going to be using terms like poles, magnets, compass points. Okay? Then orange is connectives, first and eventually. Again, these are not the kinds that you'll be using as connectives or openers. It's more likely to be because, so, therefore. These are more likely the ones that you'll use. Present tense, melts, is, enters, continues, and so on. Third person, it. So again, these are, you're not going to be talking about people, so it's always going to be it, the compass, the north, the south, it. Blue, yes, that's the third person pronouns, and the violet at the bottom is a conclusion. Not everybody put a conclusion in, so I'll be looking for something like that in our conclusion. Look at this, look how short the introduction and the conclusion are. They don't have to be long, one sentence each. Okay, so once you've got to this point, read your work. Have you been using your planning? Have you met your targets? Does your writing make sense? That's an important one. Is your writing meeting the success criteria? Do you need to look back at the model text? And your conclusion, as I said, one sentence will be fine to draw everything together. So these are the conclusions of the volcanoes. This time I'm not giving you conclusions for the compass. That is something I want you to come up with yourself, but they're short. A volcanic eruption can be shocking and dangerous, and volcanic eruptions can be shocking and dangerous events which may cause damage to buildings or even take people's lives. Well, there is nothing like that with a compass. They're not dangerous. Actually, they're helpful. So you might want to mention how helpful a compass is. Volcanoes are powerful forces of nature which can cause devastating effects if they're up. Believe it or not, magnets are powerful forces of nature, and they can be helpful when used in a compass. Yes. A volcanic eruption is one of the most powerful and dangerous natural disasters that exist. Compasses are not natural disasters, and the magnets in them are not natural disasters. So it's going to be something different. So after you've finished, check to see if you've achieved, check your technical targets, and so on. You can read through this, tick them off as you go to make sure that you have got everything that you need for your perfect piece of writing. You can go over and proofread. That means that you check for mistakes, you're looking specifically for mistakes, and you edit them. That means that you make them right. So that's what it says at the bottom. Edit your work before handing it in. Don't pass off your proofreading to your mum or your dad, okay? You try and do it yourself.